So 5.4 is point slope form. So far what we've done is slope intercept form, y equals mx plus b. And now we're going to learn a different equation, point slope form. So here's an example of a line. A red line shows the altitude of a hot air balloon during its linear descent. Means it comes down in a nice straight line. What is the equation of the line in slope intercept form? What is the altitude of the balloon when it starts and its descent at x equals 0? Well, we learned before slope intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Where's the b? Where we begin. So that would be 600 and something. And then we'd have to figure out the slope by using these two lines. And we learned how to do that yesterday, but we are going to learn a new way of doing it today. So point slope form is this new equation, and you need to have this, take a look at this, it should be in your notes. The point slope form of an equation of a non-vertical line with slope m and through points x1, y1 is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, where y1 is the y coordinate you're given. It's just one of your points, the slope they give you, or you have to figure out, and the x1 is the x coordinate, just one of your points. So y from one of the points, x from the same point. So let's try one out. There are instances in which you are given the slope and an ordered pair. For example, you may know that the slope of a line is -2, and the graph of the equation passes through -2, 1. You can use point slope form of a linear equation to write an equation of the line. It says y minus y1. Here is our x1, y1 that they gave us. So we would have y minus y1, and that's coming from here, equals, they gave us the slope, -2 times x minus x1, and they gave us that, which was -2. That came from here. So let's simplify it a little bit. Y minus y1, equals 2 times x. A negative minus a negative number is the same as plus 2. So in point slope form, this would be the equation of my line. Write an equation of the line that has a slope of 3 and passes through the point 2, 5. So slope of 3 and passes through the point 2, 5. So I'm going to label this my x1, this is my y1, and I'm going to fill in my equation. What was the equation again? See if somebody can come up with it. You should have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Y minus our y1, which is 5, equals, here's the m, that's our slope, times, x minus, here's our x1. And there's nothing to simplify here. This is a nice, beautiful point slope form equation. And you can leave it just like that. Pause as you need to. All right, you guys give this one a try on your own, number 1. While people go around and help to make sure you have it down. Put me on pause for a minute. should have y minus, there's our y1, equals m, there's our slope, times x minus, there's our x1. So that should be the equation for the first one. Hey, look at here. Beautiful match. Did I have, hey, and here should be, so again, look at your errors if you made any. Ask some questions. Hopefully somebody can answer, even if it's a classmate. Once you've done that, let's go on to the next one. So try number 2, writing a equation and point slope formula for the problem where the slope is 2 and you go through -3, -3. Put me on pause while everybody gives that a try. And the answer to number 2 is y minus our y, that's where they get the y plus 3, equals 2, our slope, times x minus our x. So again, minus a negative is the same as plus a positive. That's why they have plus 3 there. So here's a little bit different problem. It says using 2 points to write an equation. Well, the last few days we have been able to find the slope if we're given 2 points. And now we have an equation that we need a point and a slope. So once you find the slope, you can do it. So how do we find slope again? It's rise over run. You have to rise before you can run. And it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And you can pick either point to be your x1, y1. Whoops, sorry. Let's just do this one together. So if we pick that way, y2 would be 3 minus 4 over -2 minus 1. 3 minus 4 is -1. -2 minus 1 is -3. So this is 1/3 for our slope. And again, we have a point and a slope. And yesterday we talked about you can pick different things, different points to use. You can pick either one, you'll get the same answer. We showed that yesterday. But I said if you can, pick a point that has a 0 or a 1 in it because it makes your life a little bit easier sometimes. So let's try that one since it has a 1 in it. And the equation again, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Let's fill in what we know. Somebody tell me what the y1 should be. And you should have picked y minus 4 equals. Somebody tell me what the m is. And you should have picked 1/3. Then we have x minus, what do we put in for our x? You should have picked 1. That comes from the point, and that would be your answer in point slope formula. I talked about the fact that yesterday, I think it was Maggie picked a different point than somebody else to pick to start with, and they converted it to y equals mx plus b because that's what we did yesterday. If you pick the other point, you are going to get a slightly different equation at this point. We would have gotten y minus 3 equals 1/3 x minus a -2. So y minus 3 equals 1/3 x plus 2. You can see that those two equations don't really look alike, But let's move them around a little bit and see, are they the same equation, yes or no? Let's move this one over here, and we have this one. So let's convert this so we know what y equals. We're going to convert it into y equals mx plus b. So overall, I want my equation to say y equals something x plus something, y equals mx plus b. To do that, I have to do a little algebra. I have to get y by itself, but first I have to do something else because order of operations says parentheses. Can I do anything in the parentheses? Nope. But then we do have to do something to the numbers in the parentheses. We need to distribute that. So we have y minus 4 equals 1/3 x minus 1/3 times 1 is just 1/3. Then I have to get y by itself, so to do that I'm going to add 4. You add numbers to numbers, so I don't add it to the x here. I don't add it here. I add it here. So you'd get y equals 1/3 x stays the same. 4 minus 1/3 is going to be plus 3 2/3. So let's try, now we have y equals, this is a nice beautiful y equals mx plus b equation. Let's try converting this other one. So again, first thing we have to do is distribute this 1/3, and we get y minus 3 equals 1/3 x plus 2 times 1/3 is just 1 times 2, so it'd be 2 over 3 times 1, which is 3. So we have y minus 3 equals 1/3 x plus 2/3. The next step we have to do is get rid of this 3, move it over. So I'm going to add 3. I have y equals 1/3 x. 3 plus 2/3 is 3 2/3. So you can see that either point you pick will end up getting you to the exact same line. So either way, you get the same answer. But you can, if they just ask you to leave it in point slope formula, this would have been right, and so would this have been right. So graphing using point slope form, what's the graph of the equation y minus 1 equals 2/3 x minus 2? First, it says find your x and y coordinates. Well, remember this is y minus ry equals 2/3 x minus our x. So that means that this has to be our x, and, whoops, sorry. This was x minus x1, I jumped ahead. So that means this has to be our x, and this has to be our y. So y minus y1, I'm going to fill this in. What's our x? Our x is back here, 2. What's our y? Y minus our y, which is 1. So I know my first point is 2, 1. I know that point is on my line. Then it says identify the slope. Well, our slope is this position, so our slope is 2/3. It says plot your point. If I'm going to plot the point 2, 1, it says x is 2 and y is 1. So we go over 2 and up 1. That's the point 2, 1. Then it says from the point you plotted, plot your slope. So I have a slope of 2/3. So after I take this point and I go up 2, 1, 2 over 1, 2, 3. Up 1, 2 over 1, 2, 3. So right There is my, I could have went down 1, 2 over 1, 2, 3. So right there is my line by using point slope formula. So let's try it again. Find your coordinates. Everybody take a second and try. So put me on pause. Everybody try to find your first coordinate. Remember, this comes from y minus our y equals m times x minus our x. So our x, has to be this number right here. X minus our x. So there's our x. The y is a little trickier because it says y minus our y, and I know that that ends up being a 2, a positive 2. So it's not y, it would have to be y minus a negative 2 in order for that to end up being positive, because minus a negative is the same as plus a positive. So that is our y. Some people just remember that it's the opposite of the numbers that are in there. So instead of our y being a 2, it's a negative 2. Instead of it being a negative 4, it's a 4. So however you want to do it, you have to be able to find your x and y coordinates. Then it says identify the slope. That's just the number that's in this position. So we have a slope of 2 over 1. Third, everybody try to plot your point. Put me on pause while people plot. You should have plotted this point 4 to the right and 2 down. Then put me on pause while everybody tries to plot their slope from that point. And you have a slope of a positive 2, so it should look something like that. And remember, if you're a little guy that's going to walk up this or down this, if he has to walk uphill, it's a positive slope when you start him from the left. If he goes downhill, it's a negative slope. So this is a positive slope, so it looks like we're doing the right thing. That is what your line should look like. All right, everybody try to do this one totally on your own. Put me on pause and come back when everyone's tried it. Oops, I just put those in the opposite order. Sorry. X should be negative 4. Y should be a positive 3. So that's my point, negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left. And 1, 2, 3 up. My slope is 1/2. So I need to go from that point up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. And my line would look like that again. Fill your graph in and make sure you have arrows on both sides of it. We should have a positive slope, so it should go uphill, and it does. All right, so we are going to be done for sure by then. there is going to be homework. I will give you a worksheet for homework. You guys can start the worksheet. It won't be due until Thursday at the end of class. So you can ask me any questions you have on Wednesday, and then it won't be due till Thursday.